What's good, priesthood? We up in the space station. Welcome to Behind the Black Veil. I miss you. I miss you guys. Okay, it be just 1 week that we be apart, but I really miss you. It's like 100 years. The type of shit that I'm learning and the types of things that we're all going through. It's like it's been 100 years since I talked to you. You know what I mean? So I mean, I'll be like brand new every week. You know, I am brand new every fucking week. I promise you that. So yeah, hey, I love you. I love you, priesthood. I love you, priesthood. Shout out to the cyber stalkers out there. You know what I mean? Because let's talk about the haters for a second, okay? Can we talk about the haters? Because, you know, the haters, I'm talking about the haters, okay? The haters are so motivating. And if it wasn't for the haters, you know, like you wouldn't even know how good you are. You would be playing down your awesomeness all the time. You know, if you're anything like me. You know, people give you compliments. You're like, yeah, thank you, thank you, thank you. You know, it's all God. It's all on God. It's all ancestors, you know. But no, the haters come along and they're like, no, you're special. You're special, the haters insist. Ooh, did you hear that? Did you hear that thunder? I'm going to try to do the reading. I don't know how crazy that thunder is going to get. But let's see. Okay, sometimes it gets too crazy. Okay, but let's see how it goes. But you see what I'm saying? Hello? The haters are like, no, you're fucking special. You're not like anyone. You have special powers, the haters insist. Well, so it is, people. So it is, priesthood. You need to accept that. All right? Absolutely. I dedicate myself, and we dedicate ourselves to generating the energy of peace, bringing clear our creative potential, and returning all negative energy back to sender and seeing behind what appears to be obstacles, things clearly as they are. I call forth accurate answers, accurate interpretations of those answers, and the wise and skillful application of the guidance that we receive here today. If you're new here, the instructions for watching my video are down below. Please don't skip those. It's very important. Okay? Because by the time you end up in Narnia, it's too late. All right? So make sure you review those. If you haven't seen them for a while, review those. All right. So we're in the space station. We're getting the big picture. This is the Spiritual World News reading. All right. The Spiritual World News last week was heavy. It was heavy. I thought it was better to, you know, classify that information. Let's find out what's going on this week with the Spiritual World News. Ancestors, what do you see, Creator? What do you see that you don't like? You want it corrected, and you want the priesthood to do some work on this, and we're all teaming up on this thing. And it's also on its way to changing anyway, you know? So what is that you see that you don't like? Romantic love. Now that's deep because that was on the Spiritual World News last week. Hello? Okay. So I'm getting the sensation, okay, that that romantic love is someplace it doesn't belong. It's out of order. It's out of order. They don't like it. Okay? They don't like it. We're going to delve deeper into it, which is what I did last week. Okay, I'm going to delve deeper and see what happens, okay? So how do we correct this situation with this romantic love that's out of order? By the way, let's read it. The frequency of romantic love supports our experience to know ourselves through the reflection of a conscious lover. Right now, this week, I'm getting the sensation that someone is doing it wrong. Someone is doing it wrong, or it's out of order. You know, like for people who are putting romantic love where it doesn't belong, trying to have romantic love with people they shouldn't be having romantic love with. Things like that, you know, like where it's unethical, it's immoral, things like that. Okay. And if it's like mild, you know, anywhere from mild to cataclysmic, if it's mild, it's somebody's doing it wrong. Okay. Or maybe they think that there's some sort of something is romantic and it's not. You know, and it's not. I don't know. We'll delve deeper in a minute. How do we fix it? And what do you want the priesthood to do about it to team up with you guys? All right. We want to see a little. Oh, All right, let me just do another shuffle. What do you want us to do to team up with you guys to correct this situation right here? What can we do? Duality. Oh, that's interesting. The frequency of duality supports our ability to gracefully flow with the everlasting movement among all opposites. So on the mild side, where somebody is doing it wrong, I get the sensation that there just needs to be a readjustment. I'm not sure how that shows up. We'll delve deeper. But for where it's on the extreme side of the spectrum and it's immoral and unethical, I get the sensation that for the priesthood, you need to accept that, people feel what they feel. It is what it is. There's nothing you can do about it. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't really help. You have to gracefully flow with the everlasting movement among all opposites. Some people are immoral. You don't have to be immoral with them. You know what I mean? But you don't have to let their immorality interrupt you, within reason, obviously. Okay, so, it is what it is. People are who they are. You have the effect that you have. Like talking about the haters, Like you hate me because you want me. I mean, what am I supposed to do? You know what I'm saying? What am I supposed to do? Not be sexy? I can't help. I'm sorry. Okay? I'm sorry, I can't help. So, all right, let's get an overall, then we'll delve in, okay? Let's get an overall. Put it in perspective. Ancestors, Creator, put it in perspective. And what are we seeing here? Somebody owes you an apology. Somebody owes you some money. King of Pentacles. Somebody needs to put some work into bringing peace into the environment because he keeps peace in the environment. Somebody needs to make you an offer or make an offering or a peace offering. He does all of those things. He also holds it down. He takes care of business. I get the sensation because of the romantic love, though, because this is husband energy and father energy. And so I get that somebody owes you an apology. Okay, they either didn't take care of you, they didn't take care of the environment, or they owe you some money, or they owe you an apology, or there's some sort of King of Pentacles thing they didn't do. It was off kilter somewhere. And this romantic love may or may not have anything directly to do with you. It might be romantic love someplace else that had some sort of effect on you. You know what I mean? Maybe it was the opposite of peace in the environment, in the physical environment, or in the environment in your relationship, or the environment between you, right, in the relationship. Okay, cool. So let's go deeper. What is the thing that you're zeroing in on here? Ancestors, Creator, that's particularly bothers you about the situation that you feel needs correction, and it's getting corrected anyway right now, and you want us to team up with you. Okay, that's interesting. The distance, caring about each other from a distance, and or the psychic connection, and or trying to, I get the sensation for those people who are in Narnia, trying to have a romantic, like for the extreme spectrum, for the unethical, immoral, trying to have some sort of, romantic configuration with you when we're not doing that, and I'm some type of shit, because it's immoral and it's unethical. You know what I'm saying? Or it doesn't have to be with you. Like I said, it could be immoral and unethical that they have with somebody else, or somebody that's connected to you, or somebody tried to get with your man, or somebody tried to get with your woman, or, you know what I mean? It doesn't have to be directly about you, or it could be directly about you. Get off on your floor. Also, it can be that on the milder side of the spectrum, It could be something where somebody has love for you, but leaving it in this nebulous space. Okay, speaking of the space station. All right, shout out to the space station. Fantastic. All right, let's go further. And not making it solid here. Okay, leaving duality there. Leaving the duality there in a way that is in conflict. Because we have to have a gracefully flow with the everlasting movement. Supports our ability to gracefully flow. There was no grace. There was no grace. Between the opposites. I get the sensation somebody was trying to dominate. One side was more dominant, okay, than the other. Or perhaps the King of Pentacles was trying to be more dominant than he should be, than would allow balance. You know what I'm saying? So get off on your floor. Or maybe somebody was trying to take more than they should have, and so that they owe you something, on whatever level. All right, again, get off on your floor. Let's go further. This is going around, by the way. This is going around because we in the space station. This is the big picture. Okay. Yeah, somebody didn't want to walk through the fire. Somebody didn't want to deal with the inconvenient truth, whatever that is. So the inconvenient truth thing hits me on the extreme side of the spectrum. Somebody didn't want to walk through the fire hits me on the milder side of the spectrum. Okay, let's go further. Somebody didn't want a King of Pentacles properly. Okay, is the sensation that I'm getting. They didn't want to make something solid. They didn't want to be firm. They didn't want to have peace in the environment. We're going down the spectrum. We're going across. This is the extreme side. They didn't want to deal with the inconvenient truth that, okay, because in this card, a lover has passed on into a different realm. They're on a different level. So that could be at play as well. Like somebody didn't want to deal with that. They displaced their romantic love energy. It was in some sort of wrong place. Or they didn't want to deal with the fact that something was over, and or they didn't want to get something started. This is the mild side. Get something started on the mild side. They didn't want to deal with the fact that something was over on the extreme side, or that something was immoral on the extreme side. They didn't want to deal with the inconvenient truth. I get the sensation they didn't want to be responsible, because that's one thing that the King of Pentacles is. Let's put some love on there. There we go. All right. Yeah, so they didn't want to deal with being responsible. Okay, they wanted the energy without taking responsibility for it. So it's imbalanced. You see what I'm saying? So the balance got to come back. All right, so go on. I get the sensation somebody was trying to get over here with the grace and mercy of safe passage at somebody else's expense. They didn't want to pay. They didn't want to give you the money. They didn't want to, take care of the house. They didn't want to have peace in the house, peace in the environment, peace in your relationship. Somehow they was trying to get over. They was doing too much or too little. Okay? On the mild side of the spectrum, doing too little. On the extreme, doing too much. Okay? Let's go over here to duality. Well, how do we fix it? And, what do you want us to do about it? It's not a game. Okay? It's not a game. I get a newness. There's a newness here because this is the childlike energy. And then also in this card, Elegua refreshes barren lands. Okay? And brings life back to barren lands, so that it's fruitful again, kind of thing. It seems like a restoration of balance, and the fact that Elegua represents how it's not a game tells me that it is absolutely necessary. It is absolutely necessary. That's what that says, because that means that whatever the imbalance is, and whatever the discomfort is in the imbalance, it's going to get worse if this is not balanced. Okay, so, but it's about to get balanced out by any means necessary, look like here, because it's not a game. And plus it's already changing, they said. They just want us to pitch in. Okay, go on. Okay, that's nice. Going after what you passionately want. That's a must. That's a must. That's how you balance your energy out. Going after what you passionately want. Okay? Abso-fucking-lutely. And or for the people on the extreme side of the spectrum who was out of order, this dang-a-lang slanger, greedy, hasty, hot-headed energy right here, it's not a game, because the balance is going to be struck. And that's facts. So whatever the situation is, it's going to get worse for the person who's out of order, because it's not a game. For sacrifice. Yes. So somebody is going to sacrifice what they want the most if they don't bring the King of Pentacles energy to the situation. Make peace in the environment, give the offering, give the money, give the apology, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Whatever that it seems to be for you. Take care of the house, whatever. You dig what I'm saying? Or the relationship, to, have more of an honorable, show up in a more honorable way is the bottom line. Show up in a more honorable way. That's important to the balance, because the balance is going to be struck regardless. You see what I'm saying? It's going to be struck regardless. So let's go into it. All right, deep diving. Again, this is going around. Don't forget, this is going around. I don't know if you've noticed. I'm noticing. Lots of people are having this. Okay, because there's a cycle closing. That's why. A cycle is closing on this incorrect love business. The cycle is closing on that. And there's an expanded awareness. And that to me says consequences. That to me says that the consequences are about to hatch. And you got to decide which side you're on. With the everlasting movement of all opposites. So it's like... it's a polarization. It is a filtration. We're separating the components of the situation. So somebody has to choose sides. What's it going to be in terms of, are you going to be, immoral or dishonorable or dishonest or, irresponsible or I don't know, whatever. Get off on your floor. Okay. Right, because the Queen of Swords, cutting the head off of corruption. So that person, place, or thing has to decide whether or not it's going to be considered corrupt, in which case the head has to get cut off of corruption, or it's not corrupt, and all is well. You know what I'm saying? So, go on. Right, new beginning, because something new is about to happen. Okay, something new is about to happen. It's about to be a new beginning. Everybody had to get on, in their spot, wherever that is. Okay, or this is also daring to speak. So, so for, I'm gonna guess the people on the extreme side of the spectrum, it's gonna be a matter of revelation. Revealing. Something being revealed, because of course we have clear sight here with the Queen of Swords. Death. End of the cycle. Death of the ego, especially here where we're cutting off the head of corruption. Okay. right? So we don't have time for ego right now. These are major changes going on. Okay, which makes a lot of sense because in the priesthood video, we were talking about having to be on the lover's floor. We were talking about having to be naked with the truth, like the naked truth. You know what I'm saying? And really standing up and standing on the principles of correctness, essentially. Okay, so death, some things are dying away. I get the sensation. Okay, some things are dying away, and the creator is sorting out which things those are going to be, which things continue and which things get life and which things get death. You know, and redistributing the balance of energy in the universe, redistributing the balance of energy on the planet Earth, physically, King of Pentacles, physically. Okay, so okay. Also, the distribution of wealth. Okay, there's going to be a redistribution of wealth, regardless of whatever anyone chooses. You know, like your choice is your big chance to have it work out favorably. You know what I'm saying? Your choice to show up honorably is your chance to have it work out favorably for you. But whether or not you choose to be honorable doesn't matter. The wealth and the energy is still being redistributed. It's a brand new, suddenly, new cycle, new beginning, old cycle, closing, death, facts. And that's that. Because Queen of Swords here, straight thugging it out. Okay? I'ma be all right. Sensation from here. Okay? So, because we're perfectly safe, even though we're going through a turbulent time, we're perfectly safe. And the Queen of Swords is presiding over the pillar. So regardless, you know, she's going to be fine. If she got to, you know, cut the head off and reseat the head, no problem. She's built for this. You know what I'm saying? Or if the head turns out to be not corrupt, no problem. Don't have to cut off anyone's head. Fantastic. You know, less work for her to do. So either way, it's going to be all right. But I tell you what, she's not going to be the only one having a hard time, is the sensation that I'm getting, because this is hard times. Okay? So not showing up honorably is going to lead to hard times, is the sensation that I'm getting. Like I get a sensation of a return to sender situation, particularly on the stronger, more intense side of the spectrum. Okay. Pet whale. Trust. I get a why should I trust you? There. Okay. Daring to speak. New beginning, sudden change. I get a why should I trust you, and that's coming from the Queen of Swords. Why shouldn't I cut your head off? Why not? After all these hard times from you not showing up honorably, why should I trust you? Right? So the person who needs to show up honorably, right? Because we're walking through the fire here. And, you know, so this energy can be flipped into positive energy. You dig it? Where the duality is, you know, it was dark, now it's turned to light. Right? And we can turn this into the mercy and grace of safe passage if we walk through that fire. And we have some compassion for ourselves and others when we conduct ourselves. We put our romantic love where it belongs. You know, anywhere from mild to cataclysmic. You know, we come to terms with the inconvenient truth. If there's a closed cycle and death is involved, particularly in the matter of romantic love, or death of the ego, if we know we put that romantic love energy someplace it didn't belong. You know, particularly on the extreme side where it's unethical and immoral. Right? Okay, so a desire to return to the safe haven. So what I'm getting, that's making me come back to the peace offering. If you have a desire to return to the safe haven, says the Queen of Swords, you have to dare to speak. Power of the word, birth of the word. Do you feel me? Daring to start new all of a sudden. Okay? Absolutely. Absolutely. Because it's not a game. Okay? Because it's as the world turns up in here. You dig it? I'm saying? Like everlasting movement among all opposites. Things are going to keep moving. They're going to keep moving because that's what it does. That's what the universe does. It keeps moving. You know what I mean? So somebody has to have a death of the ego and come to terms with these truth factors, with the factors of who they are, how they showed up, who you are, what they did to you, what they didn't do for you, whatever. What they did with someone else, whatever it is, you know, configure it the way you need to configure it. But if they want something passionately, they have no choice but to walk through this door and get it. So if that is peace, if that is don't cut my head off, if that is a desire to return to the safe haven, whatever it is, okay, the desire to be on the light side of the spectrum, you know what I mean? Whatever it is you want, you need to have a death of the ego and admit that to yourself, facing the inconvenient truth that you do indeed want the mercy and grace of safe passage. Because who are we pretending for? Hello? Because no one has the time, because as the world turns, that's why. Hello? It's not a game. These things cannot be turned back. So let's deal with going forward. Okay? And, pal, let's go to the rest of the reading here. Yeah, look. I was watching you. Or new beginning. You know, closing the cycle, expanded awareness. Yes, new beginning. And or they wanted you to have a death of the ego. You know, or they tried to take advantage of your vulnerability. You know, because they say in the Carnival card, which is the world card, they say that your enemies can strike undetected because everybody's wearing a mask. So perhaps somebody wore a mask and tried to attack you here, ladies, while you was by the riverside with your back out, you know, or maybe they were just spying on you, you know, trying to get an expanded awareness of you, you know, without your permission. Says the Queen of Swords. Queen of Swords said, nobody asked me. Right. 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 Okay. Abundant future, bloodline legacy. Somebody tried to put you through a hard time. Somebody's corrupt. Somebody tried to take your money, or they took too much money, or they didn't give you your money. Or they tried to take control over your future. Or they tried to control your money. Something is corrupt. They tried to make you go through hard times. They wanted you to have a death of the ego, or maybe they wanted you to die. Get off on your floor. That's obviously for the extreme side of the spectrum. Protecting what matters most. Okay? Which is the safe haven. Which is trust. That's what matters most. I mean, who doesn't know that? Right? Who can complain about hard times who didn't spend the time being trustworthy? You must deserve the hard times if you're not being trustworthy. I mean, side note. You know what I mean? But either way, the inconvenient truth has to be dealt with. It will be dealt with one way or the other. So might as well get ahead of that. You know what I'm saying? Get ahead of that and deal with the Queen of Swords on the shit, because if she's not coming for you, if she's decided that you're not corrupt, then that's official according to the universe. That's official. You dig what I'm saying? But something has to be done about these hard times. Let's go deeper. Or this thugging out, or this, tumultuous turbulence, or whatever that it is. The turbulence needs to end, particularly in the matter of peace in the environment. Yeah, I get the sensation you're not supposed to be going through no turbulence like you've been going through. Okay, because your bloodline legacy is to have an abundant future, not to be going through no hard times. Do you feel me? So yeah, that's corruption. That's corruption. And that's interesting, because in the last one we had some sort of possible law enforcement situation where they may have been corrupt. All right. Someone tried to confuse you. Someone tried to delude you. They are delusional. And I'm getting that strongly from the intense side of the spectrum, from the unethical, immoral side of the spectrum. From the mild side of the spectrum, it strikes me as someone watching you here in the mirror. Someone's watching you. They didn't know what to say. They didn't follow their instincts. They let the cycle close, or some such thing like that. Let's go further. Yes, they didn't put respect on your name. They wanted to watch you without respecting you. They didn't want to have a death of the ego. So I guess dealing directly with you would have required a death of the ego. It's kind of like the way the United States government deals with black people. Remember, for those of you who are old enough to remember when it came up during Clinton's presidency, where they was like, oh, should we apologize to the black people? And then they finally decided, nah, you know what I'm saying? Facts. But not to mention, an apology won't do. Okay? But what was the real reason why they didn't want to apologize? Because they didn't want to have to then take responsibility for what they've done. They didn't want to have to then pay you your money back. Hello? Right. You know what I'm saying? Because they don't have the money. They would have had to come up with something a little more creative than that. Because, we're talking about centuries of your bullshit. Centuries. Hello? Your great-great-grandchildren will be paying us back. Facts. They didn't want to cop to that. They didn't want to deal with the inconvenient truth. So it's the same principle. It's when something is so wildly out of order that no one wants to, like the perpetrator or the person who did it does not want to identify that they did it, because they don't want to have to pay for doing it. They don't want to have to make up for doing it, because it is such a huge violation. You know what I mean? But really, it's not a game. Queen of Swords, cutting off the head of corruption, the creator and the ancestors and the universe is already separating the light from the dark. You can't get around it. You can't get around it. You might as well pay for it. You might as well cop to it. You might as well acknowledge it, because the Queen of Swords is looking dead at you. You're not hiding. Do you feel me? And she's crystal fucking clear on the shit. Hello? I'm supposed to have an abundant future. Am I right? Shout out to black people. Am I right? I'm not supposed to have to be struggling to pay no bills, and you drug my ass all the way over here and I got to pay you? Not at all. Corruption. Okay? So that's just an example. Okay? So anybody who's a friend to the black people should understand that makes all the fucking sense in the world, right? Because if you can understand that in a relationship context, if you gave too much or somebody took too much from you, You know how you feel, and it ain't been no hundreds of years. Hello? Facts. So, all right? Nobody should have a problem with that. Okay, look, respect. Put some respect on my name. Respect. Final judgment. Somebody didn't want to make a final judgment, or they didn't want to be judged. Oh, that's interesting. They didn't want to be judged. Well, that's interesting because the Queen of Swords doesn't really judge. She analyzes. She deciphers the difference between materials, factors. She's not judging it. You know what I mean? It is or it isn't. I guess it's a judgment on some level, but it's not a judgment like, oh, well, it's corruption. You know, it's the identification of the facts without emotion. Without emotion. Because this is air. You dig what I'm saying? It is what it is to the Queen of Swords. So she's not telling you you can't, recover the situation. She's not telling you, excuse me, you'll never change. You'll always be a piece of shit. Maybe you won't always be a piece of shit. That's neither here nor there to the Queen of Swords. What are you today? Are you a piece of shit today? Are you corrupt today? Because that's all the Queen of Swords cares about. Do I need to cut your head off today? But we'll worry about tomorrow. You feel me? And this is how she concerns herself with tomorrow, by worrying about today. Hello? Do you measure up today? So that's all it is. It's, so this person, I feel that they didn't want to be judged. They didn't want to have a death of the ego. So somebody had their balls in the way. You dig what I'm saying? On one, literally or figuratively. You know what I mean? They had their balls in the way. And their balls was blocking them from this balance, from accepting the duality in their own nature and reconciling it so that they could have the mercy and grace of safe passage. You dig it? Or perhaps they wanted to receive compassion, receive love, but not give any. Get off on your floor. All right? This is the big picture. It's going around. Okay? That's another reason why it's not about an emotional judgment. It's more about the actions being wrong and less about the person. If the person decides to subscribe to the activity to such a degree that they can be defined by it, that is when you have established corruption. And that's when the Queen of Swords cuts the head off. Because why are you giving the people a hard time? Right? Like, look how they trying to give us a hard time. Like, for instance, let me give you an example. And this is a tough one. Like when people leave their kid in the car and the kid dies. And they didn't mean to kill the kid, but they were under such pressure in their life because of how our society is set up that they're so worried about paying bills that they forgot the kid was in the car. The kid's quiet, they sleep or whatever. You get out the car, you forgot, the windows are up and the kid dies. As far as I'm concerned, that's not exactly all the parents' fault. I don't think they should go to jail for that if they're under pressure. Now, if they're just neglectful and they have a history of being neglectful, that's different. You know what I mean? But at the same time, if they're pressured for paying bills, like, why are you pressuring people this much that they forget they fucking kids in the car? Society is fucking with people. And then the people have to pay for the shit. When it's society that's corrupt. You feel me? It's whoever made them policies that's corrupt. Whoever the business is, the boss, that's who's corrupt. These bill collectors are corrupt. That's who's corrupt. Hello? So this is what I'm saying. That's a tough one, I know. That's a tough one. But anyhow, wise, cool, calm, decision-making cat. That's who somebody was supposed to be. They was pretending to be that. They wasn't that. Instead, they were being cold-blooded. That's what they was being instead. Calculating, plotting, watching, brainstorming from the bushes. Plotting on who? Plotting on this lady here. Okay, taking advantage of her vulnerability. Because they didn't want to be judged, hiding in the bushes so that she can't see them. But she can see them though. She knows they're there. She just looks at the river. Right? She uses the river as a magic mirror. Magic mirror. She knows the secrets. Why? Because the ancestors came and told her the secrets. It's not a game. Okay? So, let's go on to the central axis. You know, just like the people know these people are corrupt. You know, in society. Putting the people through a hard time, blocking their bloodline legacy. So what's the people's bloodline legacy? The ability to live on this planet in peace. That's what the pillars are about. Okay, for those of y'all who don't know about the pillars, go watch my pillar video. Just type that into the search bar of my channel. The pillars. Okay? Right. We should be in peace here. What's going on? It's all the psychopaths, you know, and the people who are influenced by that policy, you know, because some people are not psychopaths, but they operate that way because the psychopaths have let them think it's normal. It's how we do it here, you know. Right. Facing your fears. Somebody's afraid of the Queen of Swords. They're afraid what she might say. They're afraid what she might do. They're afraid what she might see. Well, she sees it anyway. She might be saying it anyway. Okay? If you're anything like me, you know what I'm saying? You saying it anyway. You hearing it anyway. Okay? But I guess they don't want to see their reflection in your eyes. You feel me? Because then they're going to know they're corrupt. And they're going to have to deal with the inconvenient truth of that. You know? But that's going to be dealt with regardless. So that's giving me back to the priesthood video where we just got to look at the naked truth. It is what it is. This is life. We live in the dimension of duality. That's where we live. Okay? Yeah, look. Burnt the bridge. Right. Burnt the bridge. The arsonist has been caught. The arsonist has been caught. All they can do is hope that it goes well when they speak to the Queen of Swords, because the offering needs to be made. Peace needs to be made in the environment. Balance needs to be struck. It will be struck regardless. Okay? So the best chance you have is to explain to the Queen of Swords, why should I trust you? Just come up with your motherfucking testimony. Simple. Because you're not hiding. You dig what I'm saying? Use words to remove obstacles. Exactly. Use words to create worlds. Face your fears and create a world of peace. Using the King of Pentacles energy to take responsibility. Everyone wins under those circumstances. You know? Everyone wins. Yeah. Somebody tried to burn down the Ten of Cups. Good Lord. Who's doing that? Who is doing that? Oh, they didn't want you to have the Ten of Cups. Yeah. That's tough. That's tough. Yeah, that's hard to say. I'm going to go ahead and guess. Hard to admit. Hard to hear. Hard to hear. You know? But it is what it is, because this is the world we live in. By the way, Queen of Swords, King of Swords. Leap of faith, effective in the face of doubt. Abundant future. I get the sensation that someone needs to make correction to have a chance at an abundant future. Right. Okay. All right. Okay, so in this card we're watching, in this card, we are setting boundaries. So somebody crossed over the fence and burnt the bridge down. Yeah. And or somebody doesn't want to get arrested. for being foolish, or being in some sort of configuration with law enforcement, some sort of corruption over the bloodline legacy, or the abundance, or the money, or the bread, or the environment. And or they don't want you to call the cops on them if they admit what they did. You know, burning down the 10 of cups and everything, or they didn't want you to have the 10 of cups. They didn't want you to have the ultimate favorable outcome. Okay. Hang on, bear with me. Or they didn't want you to be so firm in your beliefs. They wanted you to be insecure about your future. They wanted you to not be so sure that, you know, that you see things correctly, you know, some such thing around that. Or they didn't want you to be so sure of yourself. You know, they didn't want you to face your fears. They didn't want you to be effective in the face of doubt. Get off on your floor. All right, let's go further. Or they didn't like something you said, or how you see things. Or they don't like how strong you are, or something like that. They want you to be weak. Right here, taking advantage of your vulnerability. They want you to be weak. Okay, and that's not necessarily everybody, but on some level, you know, that's whoever was coming against the righteous, or the righteous principles. Okay, expressing your feelings. Expressing your feelings. Dare to express your feelings. Or dare to give. Dare to give back. Or it's time to give back. Or because of what someone else says, maybe the Queen of Swords, someone will have to give back. You know, or because of what the Queen of Swords says, somebody will be in their feelings. For maybe the person who, you know, has to deal with the law enforcement or whatever. You know, the cosmic cops being called based on what she's investigated, analyzed, or revealed. Because I did say revelation. Ah, yes. Okay, yeah. Okay, so this is giving me lover's floor. Dare to express your emotions and confidence that I'm loved. Okay, so that's another getting back here. When the Empress is in her Queen of Swords energy, you know how sometimes, you know, people are like, you know, they don't like you to really be forthcoming. They don't like you to, you know, say what it is, tell it like it is. You know, they want you to just shut up and be pretty and be quiet and let them control everything. Right? And I mean, that would be cool if they were, you know, honorable. And them being in control was good for everyone. But they wanted to benefit only themselves, and they wanted you to sit down and look pretty and be quiet. So that's not going to work. So here come the Queen of Swords. Right? And then I get the sensation that the energy was like, oh, well, if you going to say it like it is, then I'm not going to have a death of the ego. And it's like, listen, if I say it like it is, the best thing you can do for yourself is have a death of the ego. Because the world turns. Things keep changing. You know, if you're anything like me, you know, you be mad about shit that makes you mad. But if people address it, you turn a corner. You start feeling different almost immediately. You know what I'm saying? Like, what? That doesn't mean everything goes away. It just means that you stay current with the topic. You know what I'm saying? You fucking stay current with the topic. I'm not one of these people who beat you in the head with the shit. Do you feel me? Unless I'm talking to myself on camera, then I might mention it several times. But but in real life, you say something, I say something, and you say something, I say, and it just, the conversation keeps moving forward. You know what I'm saying? Like, we don't have to go back to the shit we just said. We said it already. You dig what I'm saying? So it is what it is. So this is my point. They wanted you to shut up and be quiet, and they didn't want you to be confident that you were loved. You too confident. They're not as confident. Maybe. I don't know. What's the problem? Or they just wanted to take advantage and get over. And you was just a little bit too holding them accountable. And so they didn't want to take responsibility and be held accountable because they wanted to over King of Pentacles everything. Or they wanted all the pentacles for themselves and they didn't want to have to share any pentacles with you. You know what I mean? Because you're too confident. You be saying shit like it is. They don't like it. They want you to, I don't know, beg or some shit. Right. Well, the Queen of Swords doesn't do that. Right. And she can see what you're doing. It's obvious. Okay? Because intelligence is the hallmark of the Queen of Swords. Somebody needs to express their feelings. Okay? So that could be anywhere from mild to cataclysmic. Okay? Everything I said is not for everybody. All right? So don't end up in Narnia. All right? Read those directions and don't forget. Okay? Yeah. Be determined. Be determined. I get a breadcrumbing. Somebody wanted to breadcrumb you. Or they wanted you to, beg them to return to the safe haven, or beg them to give you a peace offering, or give you your money, or give you your inheritance, or beg you to, I don't know. Okay? Right. Do what thou wilt. So you do what you want to do. Okay? And righteously. Not in a negative way, but righteously. And you're too independent for somebody. They wanted you to be more dependent on them for whatever, for money, for peace, or for reassurance. It's interesting because, if you do the work, hello, I will be happy to reassure you. Are you anything like me? I will be happy to reassure you. I will be reassuring you daily, several times a day. You know what I mean? With no prompting from you whatsoever. Just because I feel like it. Because I just want to tell you how awesome you are. How much you do for me. And how great you are. And, how valuable your presence is. And, But you don't try to control people. They were trying to control you. You see what I'm saying? So they didn't deserve that reassurance. And they was trying to project that on you. Like you don't deserve reassurance. They don't want you to be confident that you are loved. Or with no help from them. You know what I'm saying? Or they didn't want to provide any help. Like, so since you so sure that you loved, you don't need me to express it to you. It's like that whole thing of beautiful women. And how people just assume like beautiful women are like famously alone. Or they end up in these relationships that are not really nourishing, healthy relationships. Because, on one side, people might assume, oh, well, you probably have people giving you compliments all the time, so I'm not going to give you a compliment, because I'm going to just stand out. I'm too good for that, or whatever the fuck it is. You know what I'm saying? Or you end up with the guy who had the balls to take a chance on you, and that's not always the guy you need to be with. So it's like, it sucks sometimes, you know what I'm saying? It really sucks sometimes. Justice. That will be justice. The expressing of the feelings, the giving back, or the expressing of the feelings, being determined. Like you don't owe this person, whoever this is, or these kinds of people, any reassurance after they came corrupt at you. After they wanted you to have a hard time. After they burnt down your 10 of cups. And was sitting there, like, yeah, I burnt it down. Like, oh, okay, you don't want me to have the ultimate favorable outcome. Okay, for the people on the extreme side, or they wanted to deny, they wanted to deny you the 10 of cups. Like, you would be their 10 of cups, they would be your 10 of cups, maybe. But they're denying it to you because it would satisfy you. And you're not satisfying them because you're not begging. You're not on their balls hard enough. You dig what I'm saying? You're too independent. You know, you don't be on balls unless people show up honorable. I'm going to go ahead and guess. Right? If you're anything like me. Hello? Like, hello? You have to you have to be the king of Pentacles before anybody gets on your balls. Simple as that. Okay? Got to put those balls to good use, is what I say. All right? And that's for the people obviously on the milder side of the spectrum, where there's a little more room to be lighthearted about the situation. People who's, you know, on the other side, you can't be on their balls at all. They can have respect. That's the best they can do. If they can show up respectful, then they can have respect. But you can't be on their balls because it's inappropriate, it's unethical, it's immoral. Okay? But if this is about your man or some sort of, you know, prospect, romantic prospect, or somebody who might be a, you know, eligible candidate to be with you, then sure, you'll be happy to be on their balls as soon as you see them show up with some balls. Okay? Absolutely. Okay? I'll be glad to be on your balls. You'd be like, girl, get off my balls. You always on my balls. Okay? So I'm just saying. Okay? You're too independent. I get the sensation they misinterpreted that. For the mild people, they might have misinterpreted that. Like, looked at your independence. Like, if I'm alone, why would I act codependent? Hello? Or maybe they wanted you to beg them to be with you. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, no, you have free will. Free will. Just like me. You dig what I'm saying? So somebody is tied up in a codependent framework of how relationships work. So that's how they was putting the romantic love where it didn't belong. That's the mild side. That could be because of, you know, upbringing. That could be 1,000 reasons. You know, there's a serious, strong male chauvinism feeling, sexism dynamic going on. So somebody has to reconfigure their masculinity so that they can do it in a healthier way. That's the milder side. On the more extreme side, somebody needs extreme healing. Okay, for the people who's immoral and unethical. Okay, they need extreme healing. Okay, favorable outcome. Right, all by myself. Okay, because this is singular. Favorable outcome all by myself. So maybe somebody felt on the milder side, they felt like you didn't need them. You know, you didn't need them enough. You know what I'm saying? You didn't need them enough, but what would they know? They've been hiding in the bushes. What would they know about what you need? They didn't come find out. You know what I'm saying? They didn't make themselves necessary. Hello? Facts. You know, it's just like I was saying about the government yesterday to my homeboy. Like, what do we need these motherfuckers for? They don't come and do nothing but fuck everything up for everyone. Do you feel me? The brilliant people are among the people. We can run ourselves. We don't need these fake ass government motherfuckers they don't give a fuck about us. And all they do is complicate our lives and make it so we're having a hard time, and also try to burn the bridge so we can't have the favorable outcome. They take all of the resources and we can't have hardly nothing. They want a breadcrumb. What do we need these motherfuckers for? I need somebody to explain that shit. What do we need them for? We don't need them. Okay, so they need to get their shit together and represent the people or get the fuck out of the way. That's gonna happen. Regardless. It's not a game. Okay? They're gonna have to have a forced sacrifice of, you know, all of their hasty, greedy ass energy. All right? That's for the government. So, all right. Well, wrap it up. Well, to wrap it up, the ancestors say this. Here's the bottom line. Meet your obligations. Meet your obligations to the empire. Okay? That's beneficial to all beings right there. All right? Fantastic. It's a divine calling. If you don't work for me, you don't work for nobody, and you don't work. It don't work if you don't work for me, says the universe. Says God. Hello? Divine calling. Ministerial duty. Honor. Hello? Moral fiber. Hello? The emperor has to have moral fiber. And the empire has to have moral fiber in order to stand. Otherwise, you fall. Because that is the flip side of the Emperor figure card. Shango, you can fall down and break your crown. Right? Because even Rome fell, right? They thought that was never going to happen. And look at America. America's falling. See what I'm saying? It's going to happen. It's happening. You know, so get your shit together. Either way, that's the best thing you could do. That's your greatest chance of survival. Get your shit together. Okay, fantastic. Go on. Take action. Take action, people. All right, that's what they ought to do. That's what they ought to do. Take the appropriate action. Follow the divine calling. Do your ministerial duty. Meet with your obligation to the empire. All right. Go on. And then the road will be clear. Destiny will be in place. All will be well. All right. And vision of the star will be restored here on earth as it is in heaven. All right. So listen, I hope you got some good juice out of that. For a personal, get in contact with me. And like, share, and subscribe for more deep ass readings like these. Hit that notification bell on your way out. Pick up a copy of Discriminating Wisdom over at Amazon. Make sure you're out here discriminating wisely. And I will see you again here soon, party people, behind the black veil.